A double shovel burial of Vince McMahon is what is said about this new Vince McMahon documentary coming on Netflix.
Yeah, so the internet is abuzz, and there's various sources repeating the same exact thing. This is Inside the Ropes. It says, Vince McMahon Netflix series said to be an absolute burial of former WWE chairman. This is according to Conrad Thompson's podcast, Keeping It 100. He is claiming that this is something that the WWE is not happy about. Some people in the WWE are not happy about. And that they're basically going to be burying Vince McMahon in the Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary that's coming out. This is a quote from him, okay? And he spoke about separating a person's work from the person themselves, pointing to Chris Benoit before continuing. And this is the quote. If you read the original report, it was slanted to read a certain way. Either way, it's hard to read that and not be a little taken aback. Now it's like, okay, not everybody is all good or all bad. He created some real magic for millions of people, myself included, but he wasn't always a great guy. I think if you go back and look up almost any of our heroes, whether they're in entertainment, music, or whatever, those folks disappoint you. But that doesn't mean you have to give up enjoying their previous work. End quote. So, I mean, this kind of reminds me of what Hulk Hogan had said. This was all over the internet as well. And I'm just kind of paraphrasing it. But he said that, oh, well, the wrestling fans are really forgiving. They forgave Chris Benoit, and they've forgiven me. Like, that is the most idiotic thing to say. Okay, yeah, there are fans that have forgiven Chris Benoit or whatever. I mean, or never even. There's fans that don't even think that he actually killed his family. So yeah, there's some idiots out there. Here's the thing: I have a really hard time separating what someone has done and what they did in the ring or for wrestling. And
well, that's why I can't separate it for Logan Paul.
Yeah, well. I can for Logan Paul. I guess I have like a limit, a threshold. Okay. Was what Logan Paul did really bad? Yes. Do I think that he should be blacklisted from wrestling for the rest of his life for that? No, I don't. On the other hand, I have real difficulty enjoying a Chris Benoit match. And that's me acknowledging that in ring, he was one of the best wrestlers that ever was. Now, if I go back and I watch a Chris Benoit match, I struggle to enjoy it if I enjoy it at all. I don't even know if you can say I enjoy it anymore. I cannot think of a time that I've watched a Chris Benoit match and just sat there and was able to block out the fact that this guy is a wife and child murderer. I can't block it out. So Hulk Hogan, no, I haven't forgiven Chris Benoit. I haven't forgiven Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's piled more on there. So, Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, okay? I can't even look at the guy without thinking about all the terrible stuff that he did. And in this docuseries is just going to show how things got worse and worse and worse over time. And I don't know what got into Vince McMahon. I'm shocked by it. Apparently he was a victim of sexual abuse as a child. You know, I have a hard time wrapping my head how someone that went through that would turn around and victimize other people, knowing what it did to him. You know, I'm guessing he didn't get any therapy for it or help or anything. And I don't know. I don't know what. I don't see how he could do those things that he did when he's had things happen to him. I just don't understand that. And so I don't see how anybody in the WWE can be angry at anything that this documentary puts out, because it's all going to be true. You know, I mean, look at what they did to the Ultimate Warrior. Okay, what the Ultimate Warrior did was 1/millionth as bad as what Vince McMahon's done. The Ultimate Warrior was buried in the Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD. This was an official WWE product that they came out with.
And if you haven't seen that, you really need to go and watch it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The Bobby Heenan parts were the best. Yeah, it's an amazing. And what Vince McMahon did is a million times worse than what the Ultimate Warrior did. What can you do with the documentary with Vince McMahon aside from bury him? I mean, I hate to make this comparison, but it's like doing a Hitler documentary and talking about his artwork, like and not talking about all the other bad crap.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, is this man Hitler? No, he's not Hitler. But it's the same argument. Can you? Hitler was an artist. Can you look at his artwork and appreciate his artwork without like thinking in the back of your head that this is the worst man possibly that ever lived? Okay. Vince McMahon's not the worst man that ever lived, but he's pretty bad. And I have a hard time watching anything historical in the WWE involving Vince McMahon. You want to talk about separating art from the person? Vince McMahon blended them. There was humiliating acts on TV. He was a pervert on national television. He took his real life personality and put it on TV, and then all this stuff comes out, and it's like, okay, that wasn't just for ratings. That was him. That was him. He enjoys humiliating people, and I can't separate it. If I watch him making someone kiss his ass, the only thing I can think of is, man, this guy's getting sexual pleasure from this on live television, and we watched it and thought it was good, and we didn't know that this was what was going on in his head. We thought it was show. We thought it was entertainment, but it was him. So no, you can't separate the two. Did Vince McMahon create great entertainment for wrestling fans? Yes. I'm glad he's gone. There was times where Vince McMahon did great, and there was times he did terrible, okay? People think that, want to make it like he's this, wrestling genius. His company nearly went bankrupt going against WCW. I mean, the guy made big mistakes. You look at the New Generation era, it was terrible. You look at the PG era, it was terrible. You look at the early Roman Reigns era, that was terrible, okay? Wrestling has done nothing but got better since he's been gone. I've said it before, the WWE needs to get rid of the stench of Vince McMahon. There's nothing that was Vince McMahon centered that is valuable to wrestling today. If people in the WWE are upset about that, that is disgraceful about this documentary and this docuseries. Tony Khan's probably just smiling at all of this because at least he hasn't committed crimes. At least he hasn't victimized people. He just is a bad booker. I mean, that's the worst thing you can say about Tony Khan, okay? And I know I've bashed AEW and I've bashed Tony Khan, but the worst thing I can say about Tony Khan is he's a bad booker, okay? Right. That's the worst thing I can say about the guy. If I met the guy, I would probably think he's nice, okay?
Even CM Punk said he's a nice guy.
I mean, that's the worst thing you can say about him, okay? Yeah. So if you're the WWE, you should let them bury him, McMahon. You should let him be buried completely. And you should separate yourself from McMahon 120. Okay, I'm doing some Steiner math right here. Okay.
You'll have 144 and a 3% chance of not being associated with Vince McMahon.
Yeah, if you listen to me, okay? And you don't take steroids. So you can't separate the artist from what they did. And that's hard sometimes. I understand that it's hard. So, no, if you do really crappy things, you should not have a career in wrestling. If you intentionally injure an opponent, you shouldn't have a career in wrestling. If you if you're a booker and you use your staff member as in sex trafficking, you should not be a booker or an owner or anything anymore. You shouldn't have anything to do with wrestling. If you're a wife and child murderer, you should never be in the Hall of Fame or acknowledged anymore. All of these people, Hulk Hogan with the racism, okay, tried to make amends, and I wanted to believe it, and then he says stupid stuff. So has he really changed? I can't say that he has. And that is one of the few things that AEW has gotten some flack for is hiring Ric Flair after the whole scandal and everything. Okay. So no, and I guess you think that Logan Paul shouldn't be in wrestling either.
Okay, so shoplifting isn't as bad as murder, right?
Yeah.
What Logan Paul did isn't as bad as what Vince McMahon did, right?
Right. I would 100% agree.
Okay. So, but to me, he's still shitty.
He is.
And it's not because of like the one thing in Japan, but it's like, the crypto scam and all these other things. In which, by the way, did you see Dom call him out on his own podcast about the Japan thing?
No, I didn't.
He said somehow Japan came up and Dom said, "You're not allowed over there anymore, are you?" or something like that. But anyway, should Logan Paul be allowed to wrestle? It's just I guess the way I look at it, if I'm WWE, if I'm Triple H, and I see his history, do I bring him in? Probably not. I probably don't give him a chance.
Well, Triple H has given him a chance, and it's worked.
Well, yeah. I mean, I won't deny that he's produced good matches. I'm assuming he's drawn money, which, by the way, I have no idea how you quantify that. I don't know I have no idea how you determine what wrestler brought in how much money.
Well, I know that.
I'm sure he did.
I know that he's blown up social media views.
Right.
I know for a fact that he's done that because anything he does on social media is going to blow up. And so he's brought a lot of attention to the WWE on social media. To me, I don't see how the controversy with Logan Paul has hurt the WWE or hurt wrestling. I don't see the bleed off into that. Are there people that don't like it? Yes. But is it that big of an effect? I mean, did the WWE get as big of a backlash hiring Logan Paul that AEW got hiring Ric Flair? I don't think so. I want to know who's unhappy about the Vince McMahon documentary in the WWE. That's what I want to know. I want those people to be called out.
Okay, so this is my thing. After seeing the trailer, the one thing that stood out to me is the fact that Vince McMahon is in it. So my first thought is, what did they have to do to convince him to do this?
Maybe they used old footage prior to the scandal.
I thought that too. I thought that too. So maybe those clips you saw of Vince talking wasn't for this documentary. It was something that happened before all this.
Or maybe it was before. Maybe the documentary was like a work in progress, and they got him on this documentary, and then all this other crap happened.
Well, if it was already in the works, then they shifted gears really quick, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Okay, so after I saw the trailer, I thought, okay, how'd they get Vince McMahon in it? And then, like you said, I did consider that maybe it's old footage. The other thing that I realized is that this documentary is for Netflix. It's not for WWE. Let's think about what's about to happen. Netflix is about to take on WWE programming. They don't want any negativity associated with this deal. So it is in their best interest to bury Vince McMahon and show everybody that Vince McMahon has nothing to do with the WWE.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are completely disconnecting themselves from Vince McMahon by doing this.
Yeah.
So I think that's why this is happening. I think Netflix is 100% behind this. They wanted to do it, not WWE.
It's a good theory, but I want to know who in the WWE is mad about this. I want them. Yeah. I want names. I want them to answer them for themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Why are you defending McMahon?
If that's true, that's true, because with wrestling headlines, I've learned that you kind of got to take everything with a grain of salt.
I 100% believe it.
I'm sure there's pieces of shit that probably are mad about it. But why? Why? I mean, unless Vince McMahon is your best friend, business-wise, how is this going to hurt anything?
Only if the documentary shows that the WWE is still maintaining ties with Vince McMahon or something like that.
If it is, then that, to me, like because of what I just said, it would defeat the purpose of the documentary.
And it would hurt Netflix in the long run.
And it would hurt Netflix, right? So I think that's the reason this documentary is happening, is because what are we, 4 months away from Raw going on Netflix?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is in their best interest. That this is to say, hey, we're taking on WWE programming. We're very much aware that Vince McMahon was the owner and everything he did, and we're going to show you that Vince McMahon has nothing to do with WWE anymore, and that's it. You're gonna you'll be able to watch this whenever you want when it comes out. I think it comes out on the 25th. So that would be that will make it like 3 months and a week until Raw debuts on Netflix. So yeah, I think this is in Netflix's best interest to do this. Maybe not WWE's, but maybe so, because do you think that there are people out there that have quit watching WWE or say I won't watch WWE because of Vince McMahon?
There might be, but I feel like the WWE handled everything well. Maybe not at first when there was initially scandals coming out, and then they allowed Vince McMahon to come back in, which Vince McMahon kind of forced himself in.
Yeah.
But as far as what TKO, how they've handled it with the man being gone, and how Triple H has handled it, I can't say that. I mean, how else could you have handled it any better?
Yeah.
Than this.
Well, if you remember, this came out shortly before the Royal Rumble this year, and if you remember, Slim Jim pulled their sponsorship from the event, and then once they announced that Vince was gone, Slim Jim got back in.
Yeah.
And they were back into the event.
And that's where, like, for example, like Slim Jim, for example. I mean, I think that's the, like, sponsorships and backlash is where it's kind of like the barometer. When Logan Paul got hired by the WWE, you didn't see sponsorships backing out. You didn't see as much of a backlash.
Right.
With Vince McMahon, there was a huge backlash. With Flair, there was a milder backlash, but there was still a backlash with AEW. Obviously, the WWE handled everything really well with Chris Benoit. Here's the thing. I understand, people that say, well, it was more than just Benoit in that situation. Like, doesn't the CT, the brain injuries and all that have to do something with it? I agree. I think it does. I don't think Chris Benoit's mind was in, any good place whatsoever. I think he had a very damaged brain, with the CTE, but he's still a family murderer. It's unforgivable. I mean, what he did. And so, Vince McMahon, what he did is unforgivable. All the things that he did, unforgivable. So bury him.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know who's unhappy. Somebody, there's some unhappy people.
Yeah.
Who's unhappy? I was disappointed by John Cena. John Cena didn't fully condemn Vince McMahon. I honestly think nobody. I mean, Vince McMahon needs to be like banished to some island, and just never heard from again. And unless he's going to court to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time we should hear or see Vince McMahon is in the courtroom. That's the only place that I want to see him. Let this documentary bury him. I'm done with the guy. Do I appreciate what he did for wrestling? Yes, I do. But sorry, your legacy is ruined, and you'll never be in any Hall of Fame, and that's the way it should be. You're a disgrace. I would even go as far as to say that you're overrated in what you've done for wrestling. Because, I mean, not everything that Vince McMahon did was good. To take the form of entertainment that I love and to gain power within it and abuse and wield that power to hurt people, for me as a wrestling fan, that's unforgivable. Okay? So I cannot separate it. I cannot watch anything that Vince McMahon has done in wrestling and enjoy his contribution to it anymore. Do I stop watching all WWE products in the past because of that? No. But I'm not watching it for Vince McMahon. I'm watching it for, who's in the ring and what they're doing, and all the people that worked hard to make what happened happen. Vince McMahon his legacy is destroyed, and this documentary burying him is exactly what should happen, and it should utterly bury him.
Even in the trailer, I heard some things that were disappointing. Somebody in the trailer said something like, everything that Vince touched turned to gold. No, it didn't. A lot of things turned to shit that he touched.
Yeah.
So he's not. Look, he was the guy that ran the biggest promotion.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why he gets the praise that he does.
He had daddy's money.
He had daddy's money. He ran the biggest promotion, but that doesn't mean every single thing he did, every decision he made was gold.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
And, you know, I mean, think about what he did to the territory system. He wrecked a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Doing what he did then.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that inevitable? Yeah, I think so, because, you know, of cable and everything else, wrestling was behind the times and it needed to change and modernize. And Vince McMahon was the one who do that. But the company nearly went bankrupt competing with WCW. So, I mean, he wasn't, everything he did was not genius. Okay. You know, he made some good moves, but he also made some bad moves. I also think that he just progressively got worse over time. The scandals just started stacking up on top of each other, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. I don't know what got into him aside from just the power just corrupting him. I just don't understand everything that he did. I think we're about to be in for a treat with watching this, and just I look forward to seeing his reputation shattered into a million pieces and just ruined. And for the whole world to see it, and just for him to be a pariah. I'm ready for this, Lance. I look forward to it. Lance, you got anything else to say about Vince McMahon?
I'm hoping that we hear a lot from guys like Austin, Rock, Triple H. Their biggest moments came with Vince, like doing a lot of work with Vince.
Well, we're not going to hear from Rock, and we're not going to hear from Triple H. Because they're with the WWE and they're staying silent on the issue.
Well, Rock was in the trailer, unless that was old footage.
Could have been old footage.
I think they need to condemn him as well.
I agree.
I think a lot of these guys feel like they owe him something. I don't think they owe him anything.
No, I don't.
It was an employment contract. I pay you this amount of money, and you perform for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like
that was completed. So there's nothing left to owe anybody here.
Yeah.
So that should be done.
That's kind of like Maven and his YouTube channel. He basically talked about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I guess, you know, he was explaining that it's a business transaction. Mm-hmm. Did the WWE care about its talent after the talent left the WWE? No. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, did he get paid for every match that he wrestled?
Right.
Yes. And he also brought up how when he needed substance abuse treatment, the WWE paid for his substance abuse treatment, even though he wasn't with the company anymore.
Yeah.
And that's one of their, I guess you would call it benefits.
Yeah.
That if you wind up needing substance abuse treatment at some point in the future, even if you're no longer with the company, the WWE will pay for it. It's just a benefit of wrestling for them. Mm-hmm. You know, did he get any other benefits after wrestling for them? No. I mean, the business transaction was over.
Right.
So Vince McMahon's gone. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
It's over. There is nothing now. He's gone. You don't owe the man a thing. He used you to get money. And obviously, Vince McMahon doesn't care about anybody but Vince McMahon.
Right.
So screw him.
Right.
You know, denounce him.
Yeah.
That's what we need to hear. I understand why they're not doing it. It's better to just kind of move on from this and not say anything, you know, but I would love it if Vince McMahon, not Vince McMahon, Triple H just got on a press conference and just tore into Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
You know, and had Stephanie with him.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that. I would enjoy hearing Shane McMahon tear in to Vince McMahon.
I think if any of them would do it, it would be him.
Yeah.
If that did happen, coming from a family member, it would be Shane. I don't know. We'll see. I hope it happens eventually. I hope one of the big names denounces him. And maybe that'll start a chain. Maybe everybody will do it then. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if The Rock will do it. I don't know if Steve Austin will do it. I don't know if Triple H will do it. Somebody needs to. Like, yeah, you really need full separation from him. And if you're not going to condemn him, I feel like that's not fully separating. I feel like you're still hanging on to something with him. You're still hanging on to him.
Well, Ronda Rousey made an allegation that Vince McMahon still had ties to the company. I don't know how accurate that is, but she's pretty much been very outspoken with how much she hates the WWE now that she's gone.
Yeah.
She has not minced words with her experience and what she thinks.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes you wonder: does the WWE still have ties to Vince McMahon? Are there people that are still partial to Vince McMahon that are in the business? I believe that there are.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But they need to get rid of the stench. Like I said, it certainly makes Tony Khan look a lot better. I mean, when the worst thing you can say about a guy is that I don't like your booking.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing pretty good in life.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of your product.
Yeah.
You know, that's the worst thing I can say about Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is evil. Is evil. He's you know, I brought up the Hitler reference. Do I think he's bad as Hitler? No, but he's pretty bad. And I think he should be in a prison. I think that's where he belongs. And should get a criminal sentence for all this. I don't think he will. He'll pay a lot in the settlement, but he's so rich it'll be like a drop in the bucket for him. But the only thing that I can say that I am glad about is that his legacy's tarnished forever. And this docuseries is going to help make that even more the case.
So this is a series. This just isn't
I'm pretty sure it's a docuseries.
It's a series. Okay. Okay.
So, you know, I feel for everybody that's been hurt by this man. I mean, he's made a trail of destruction. I just hope that, you know, it's kind of like what Eric Bischoff said, you know, I just hope that they can heal from this and move on. I don't expect Stephanie or Shane or Linda to say anything. I mean, they're victims in this too. I can't imagine being in their shoes right now. I can't imagine being in Triple H's shoes right now because, I mean, that is his father-in-law.
I mean, look at Shane. Shane's a unique situation because according to the allegations, he knew about this all along. So it's not like he's surprised by any of this, really.
Yeah.
So the difference to him is that now it's public.
I'm not going to lie. I would love to see Shane McMahon work for Tony Khan. That would just be a great wrestling moment.
I would love to see it if he had an executive position. Because I think I've said it before. I think it would just be a waste for him to go there and not have some power. But whatever.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we're pumped and ready to watch this docuseries on Netflix.
September 25th.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. Y'all, peace out, and we'll be back on here. Hopefully producing more content. Like I said, I was sick earlier, so we had a pause, but I'm back in the game. So.
Yeah, we're going to try to do it live next week.
Yeah.
After I play with some things.
Yeah. Get online and listen to us, please.
You're going to get a notification that we're live. Just turn it on. And yeah, I don't even care if you watch. Just turn it on.
Yeah, have it playing on in the background, like on your phone or something, you know. But we will be responding to comments.
Oh, yeah.
And if there are any comments. And I just want to say this program is heavily censored, okay?
Yeah.
I am likely to say something that's extremely politically incorrect and extremely woke in the same sentence. Okay, I have when I'm talking about wrestling, I have just no filter. Okay, I mean, like, I just say what's on my mind, and so if we're live, I mean, there's no way to edit that.
Right.
Lance can tell you, there's usually one thing in every time we've done an episode. There's one thing I said, Lance, you need to take that out because it's too controversial, and if we ever make it, we're gonna have too much heat from that.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Next week, if you listen, I'm going to say something that I'm gonna regret saying, and it's going to be live, and there's going to be no taking it back. So tune in.
All right. So until then,
later. Bye.